What's up? We're back. It's All or Nothing. Oh! I'm your host, John Roberts. With me, as always, are my two good friends, Jasper Grover, Edward Dunstan, live from Scotland.
Well, he is. I'm live from my villainous cave on the coast.
Yeah, you're live from a pineapple under the sea. So the biggest talking point of the week, let's get right into it. Tasmania, welcome to the AFL.
Tas
Any
Vegas.
thoughts on names? Yeah, so is it Tas Vegas?
Yeah.
Is it the place to be from Bris Vegas?
How cool is it though? Like that is like I was just thinking yesterday, like how awesome would it be to go down to Tassie and like go to a football match, like a proper AFL match that's not like, I mean, obviously Hawthorn's a proper team. But like, you go to like a proper stadium and see the Tassie, whatever they're called. I think, it is. I was thinking really hard yesterday about like, oh, what's like a cool name for them? I'm like, I got no idea. Because you can't go Devils, can you?
You have to go Devils.
Has to be Devils.
We've already got the Demons.
Okay, but let's say in a world where it can't be the Devils, what would it be? I had a couple of suggestions.
The Jack Jumpers? Oh, no, that's taken by the NBL team. It's such a catchy name as well.
Missed out on that
terrible. No, okay, so my argument against Devils is we've already got the Demons. And it's not like, you can't have like we've got the Tigers and
you got the Tigers and the Cats.
They're two different types of feline.
Yeah.
Well, a devil and a demon are two different types of demonic forces in this world.
Could you? All right, I actually challenge you to define the difference between a devil and a demon, unless the demons are meant to be like more a metaphorical demon, and the devil is a literal devil.
Literal devil. They can't not be called the devil. Like, there's a literal animal that is their, I believe, probably their fauna, is the Tasmanian devil. Like, it's an actual thing that exists. It's not just a name that's given to them. Like, it's a
possible solution. It could be renaming the demon something else.
I mean, they voted to follow once upon a time. They could be easily convinced, I reckon.
Yeah.
I did enjoy the Batuta Advocates Tassie Devils to play Satanic Derby against Melbourne Demons on blood-soaked oval for Dark Mofo. I do think if they ended up being the Tassie Devils, the Devils versus the Demons for Dark Mofo, that would be amazing. Get everyone like dressing up for the occasion.
What would the derby be called between the Demons and the Devils? the Beelzebub Cup or something like that?
I've got nothing. I need to think about that.
Satan's seeds. I don't know.
Yeah.
That'd be like the Mofo winner or something.
The Satanic Seesaw. I don't know.
The Kiss of Death. I had a couple of ideas. So I if it couldn't be the Devils, I do quite like the Titans, Tasmanian Titans. I thought that was kind of a good suggestion, dropped by, I think that was Will Schofield or Mason Cox. I saw that on Twitter. Shit, sorry, I can't remember the guy. Sorry.
Yeah, okay.
So I've got a couple of NFL inspired ones. Following on from the 49ers and the Adelaide 36ers, the Tasmanian 23ers being their founding year, unless there's some other historic year we could come up with. The Tasmanian Cassowaries, just to solidify another bird. After the Steelers, they could be the Tasmanian Iron. After the Browns and the Blues, they could be the Tasmanian Greens if they wanted, although...
no way. No, because...
They're the only Blues state.
Conservative would be like,
it's a bit too...
There is no way.
Does that mean that the next team would be like the WA Labour or something like that?
The Teals, yeah. These are good though. It's I think taking inspiration from like the States and other places is actually not a bad idea, because I feel like we have got, I don't know, we've exhausted Australia's, animal population. So
well, that's the thing. The last two that I like,
we've got
so
emus,
so similar,
wombats.
Similar to the Seahawks,
Wombat.
the Tasmanian
Tassie
Wombats.
Wombats.
It
I
could
don't
work.
mind it.
Yeah, it could work. It could work. The Tassie Sea Lions, similar to the Seahawks, because there's lots of sea lions down there. And the last one, similar to the Texans, when you're just going to name your own mascot after just the state that you're in, the Hobart Tasmans.
Oh, yeah, not bad. What about the Mountaineers or something? Like,
That's cool.
People
I like that.
Mountains in Tassie.
Like the Nuggets, sort of like the Avalanche in hockey, NHL. A couple of good ideas, good brainstorming session. Anyway,
what about how like you got Orlando Magic? What about Tassie Talent?
Talent.
Yeah,
that's
the talent.
It sounds like they'd have to be the sponsor would have to be seek.com, surely, or something.
Yeah.
Or LinkedIn or something like that.
Yeah.
Finally on Tasmania, I think the reception's been good. I would like to get some betting odds in the futures markets just for Tasmania to win the grand final before the Gold Coast Suns do.
Oh.
I think that there could be a market there for it.
AFL would hate that, but maybe. It is interesting how.
You go.
Yeah, go.
No, you
go. Okay, I was just gonna say because the team seems to be getting a lot of love, but the new stadium seems to be getting so much heat from Tasmania. It seems like everyone outside of Tasmania thinks the new stadium's a good idea because the other two look a little bit like B grade, but like they're perfectly fine. I've been to Hobart Stadium and it's good. It's just it feels very much like a VFL ground, and so I think a new stadium's not a bad idea. But everyone in Tasmania seems to hate the idea. Like,
I think they hate the idea of how much money is being spent on it.
But it's like if you're gonna do it, like it's like if you're gonna do a house reno, you don't go like, look, let's just get all the cheap parts and like patch it up. It's like, no, go for the fucking full thing. So
yeah, I mean, I can see both. Like, look, I want Tassie to have a team in AFL, and I want them to be successful, and they need a new stadium for that to happen. Yeah. But I also understand that government funding could probably be better spent in other areas if you want a better society as a whole, rather than just my entertainment of watching footy.
Mate, those homeless people should have found a home. Like,
maybe if they start working out, they might get a job. But,
yeah, that's right. If they start playing footy, maybe they'll make the team. So.
But they're all Liberal voters down there. They're mostly self-serving. So shouldn't they be for a new stadium, or are they more sort of for themselves?
Isn't Tassie a fairly Labor safe seat?
Oh, not according to being the last Liberal blue seat
in the country.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah. But they do traditionally they were a Labor and Green stronghold, but whoever the new Liberal Premier is must have a bit of a John Howard vibe about his battlers or whatever. So because Tassie is like so economically pretty fucked. So
anyway, we're moving a bit further away from footy.
All right, yeah.
So let's talk about the next Tassie election.
Yeah, we can.
But so what are the odds on Kevin Sheedy being their first coach?
No way. If we were doing power rankings of AFL figures, he would be way down because everyone, Essendon supporters hate him right now. The AFL hates him.
Who's it gonna be? It's gonna be an established coach.
It'll be Mick Malthouse comeback.
Yeah.
Oh, that would be incredible.
Maybe someone will step up. Maybe like a
Barassi.
No, I meant
might be a bit hard.
One of the younger sort of guys. Yeah.
Maybe. No. What about Clark Oak? In 5 years' time when North is like still shit.
Still bad.
Shit, yeah.
I'll get Clark. Because he's from Tassie, isn't he?
Is he? I don't know.
I think so.
All right.
He'd be a good marketer for the team.
Before we kick off with my top 5 moments from round 7, it was round 7, right?
That is correct.
It was.
I would also like to make the other announcement that the Circle of Parity for 2023 is now closed. It's the fastest of all time that the ring is closed. So might go to show what the level of competition is. All right. Adelaide defeated Hawthorn, who defeated North Melbourne, who defeated Fremantle, who defeated the Gold Coast Suns, who defeated Geelong, who defeated Essendon Bombers, who defeated Melbourne, who defeated the Dogs, who defeated the Brisbane Lions, who defeated Collingwood, who defeated Port Adelaide, who defeated St Kilda, who defeated Carlton, who defeated West Coast, who defeated GWS, who defeated Sydney, who defeated Richmond, who defeated Adelaide.
You got all that, listeners?
Yeah.
I did have a special shout out to Bont's 200th as well. Kicking 4 goals was quite nice. Sorry, Jazz, it was against the Hawks. I just want to hold that thought. So the Hawks were also there clapping him off the field. I'm okay with clapping off, like, you know, Joel Selwood retiring, Gary Ablett, whatever. Like, both teams are like, yep, okay, they've like played at least 300 games. They've got my respect. Bont has a lot of respect. 200 games, does it really require 2 teams to clap him off?
Ooh.
I reckon for a captain of Bont's capabilities, yes. If it was like a Cade Simpson, no.
Man, that guy played like 400 games.
I know,
anyway,
yeah.
so.
You do it for 400 games or 300 games,
Yeah.
but at 200 games, probably not.
Well, this is what I'm saying.
I thought you were going to say the more controversial take, like Kane Corns vibe of like Hawthorn shouldn't have clapped him off because it's like giving too much to the opposition, telling him about, you know.
Just hang on, that's what I'm saying.
That Hawthorn should not have been involved. You reckon just the Bulldogs should have been involved in cheering him off?
Yeah, like I think Bont's my favorite player in the league. And I'm really happy that he's played 200 games. But like lots of players have played 200 games.
Mm. So, Jazz, do you think this is like breeding a kind of culture of being a loser at Hawthorn by clapping off Bont?
I think we need Dermot to come back into the change rooms at halftime during a game and tell them to line in the sand, beat the absolute shit out of the other team.
Yes, they should have come out breathing fire against Bont and just hammered him into the turf repeatedly.
I mean, still get absolutely slaughtered on the scoreboard, but, you know, kick him a couple of times as well. Line in the sand against Essendon 2004.
Yeah. Did you I'm just curious, Jazz, about this game though, because did you I've been Essendon's playing a little bit better at the moment, not amazing, but a little better than Hawthorn. But I've barracked for a team, Essendon, that has often done the thing of like played well for a few quarters, but just shat the bed in one of them. And Hawthorn, I'm pretty sure shat the bed in the third or something.
You shit the bed in every third quarter, basically.
What is your feeling like? Horrible deja vu, or like that's fine? Like
now, I'm kind of like expecting it. So we were winning at halftime, I'm pretty sure. But I was not expecting to win the game. Still, even at that point, it was more like, we played well, good stuff. We're not getting absolutely flogged. We ended up getting a little bit flogged, but
it was competitive.
Yeah, it's another notch it up to another honourable loss and a win for the Harley Reid Cup.
Yeah.
No, it's good. And with Bont as well, first player from the 2013 draft to make it to 200.
I reckon that's worthy of a round of applause.
Yes.
Number 5.
That's him coming off the ground. I'm giving him the applause from the opposition.
Well, don't. He's only played 200 games. My number 5 moment from the round, it was kind of Saturday night in general because it was very kind of the AFL to schedule us Saturday night off. Ed, you weren't watching, but the 2 games was the D's versus North Melbourne and the Blues versus the Eagles. Fair to say both games were pretty much over within the first 5 minutes. Both opposition losing teams, I think they only managed to score about 20 or so points for the game. Blues did win by over 100 points. D's just under 100 points. Having said that, though, my top 5 moment from that, Harry Sheezel, again, I still love him. He leads North Melbourne, including this game, in possession winners for the team in 6 of 7 games. So he's had 1 game where he got put away. I think it was last week. But every other game, he's led the team in possessions. Pretty incredible because he's only played 7 games.
Not bad. It's just on the scores of the round. I can check the tapes. I reckon last week I said that this round was going to be a doozy of a bad one.
I think you did.
and it's lived up to it at an average losing margin of 37 points, and that's with 2 games being decided by 1 point.
Yeah, was 2 games by 1? I thought it was just the 1.
No, it was Pies, Crows.
Yeah, that's the one.
And then Sydney GWS.
That was more than 1 point.
Yeah,
that was 1
No,
point.
it was 1. It was 106 to 107.
Ah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. All right.
That's nuts.
I stand corrected.
That I did actually, because the Saturday night game is probably the only one that lends itself to UK time, and so I was like, "Oh, I'll open up my phone and check. Maybe I'll like watch a little bit of the footy." And I was like, "Nah, reckon I'll probably just put that away."
Reckon I'll stay on holiday.
Yeah.
But my number 4 moment from the round sort of ties into that as well, because Charlie Curnow kicking a career high 9 goals, but also Tom Hawkins in his 330 plus games sets a new career high 8 goals against the Bombers. Yeah. Ed, again, great time to go on holiday because you did not miss much.
Oh, I watched this game.
Oh, you did? Yeah. Well, I mean, like Cats obviously opened with the first 6 goals. Bombers did come back a little bit. They chipped away, but they never seemed to have control.
No, it's I think it's a case of death taxes and Tom Hawkins taking hold of an Essendon key back. So
they seemingly had no interest in doing anything to stop him, did they?
Well, they put Ridley on him in the second half and he only kicked 2 goals. So it was like, we could have just done that from the start, but they obviously wanted to persist with Zerk Thatcher. And I think, look, it could have also been
Zach Dawson route on Travis Cloak, just throw him to the wolves and throw him in the deep
end.
Yeah,
teach him about character and, you know. But yeah, it was just, I watched it on delay. So I was like, you know, when you're watching on delay and you can just kind of skip ahead. And I was like, oh, Geelong got a goal. I'll skip to like, you know, another minute or 2 ahead. Oh, Geelong got another goal. Skip another 2 minutes ahead. Okay, this is getting a bit weird. So I think we were down like 7 goals or something. And I was really happy that we did fight. I think we got within maybe 3.5 goals or something at some point.
Yeah, Stringer played really well.
Really good. Yeah, Stringer played well. Wiedemann played well. We kicked over 100 points in a loss, which was like insane. So honestly, comparing it to last year where we just like rolled over and kind of was like, yep, go for it. This one we actually did like fight out the game. So that was really good. I was pretty happy with that in the end. So
yeah, we were Geelong, at that game.
We were, and Essendon did not fire a shot the whole day. So I think this was actually, Tom Hawkins looked so good though. I mean, against Zerk Thatcher, we just don't have, like, I think there was an Age article about this, but Essendon's big glaring hole now isn't a midfielder. It's like, we need a key back, like a proper one. We missed, Laverde would have played probably a little bit better, but and he got injured last week. But I still think Hawkins probably would have, you know, kicked maybe 5 or 6 against him, maybe not 7 or 8, but still would have kicked a few. And yeah, that was the difference basically, is that you guys had like a, you know, Patrick Dangerfield. I don't think he's ever played a bad game against Essendon. So he just like licks his lips looking at our midfield and just like
he did play a good game. 28 disposals, 15 inside 50s, 10 clearances, and 684 meters gained. Hawkins hadn't kicked 6 goals since 2018 in the game, so that was good.
Yeah, good. Playing back into form.
If it makes you feel any better, Ed, so the Cats have kicked over 120 points for the 4th time straight. Yeah, and the most recent team to do that was Collingwood in 2010. Dogs in 2008, and then Brisbane in 2001. So they're back in form.
They are back in form. And just on the other goal kicker, Charlie Curnow, that was actually one of the things I watched in the round was the highlights of him kicking goals. And honestly, how good is it when like a full forward kicks a huge bag? It's pretty fun to watch.
Except for Tom Hawkins.
Yeah, that's shit. No one likes that. But
that's fine. No, but it is because it's kind of like it transports you almost back to the 90s.
Yeah.
And Sam
2008 for Buddy.
And Sam Wiedemann scored 5 goals as well.
Yeah, did well.
Yeah, I thought, and like you said, they scored over 100 points. Overall, they played well. It's just, Cats are
just that first quarter.
Yeah. The number 3 moment from the round, I hope you caught the highlight, Ed, because this is a good one. Will Ashcroft's karate kick or karate fly kick from the sideline through the goals against Frio on the weekend
It's pretty
was
good.
holy shit insane. That was a great goal. To follow that up from Charlie Cameron the week before doing his little soccer style toe tap through the goals. Yeah, that kid, Will Ashcroft, also with Harry Sheezel, they good.
Yeah, that was pretty awesome. I did watch that highlight. I think, I don't know, I feel somehow wedded to Charlie Cameron winning because I was like, that's goal of the year. So I'm just going to keep going with that one. Will Ashcroft's very good, but I think a backwards heel tap is still got me. But Will
Really? You
Ashcroft,
still think it's
yeah.
better? Ooh, is it because it's more?
I don't even know if I do. I just said last week that it was going to win, so I think I am barracking
That's
for
the
it
best
now.
mindset to have, is just make an opinion and then dig your heels in and never change it,
stick to it.
regardless
Yeah,
of
yeah.
whatever facts come up.
I like to think, as people recording their opinions on the internet, we do reserve the right to change our minds as new information comes in. No?
You can
No,
reserve
no,
that
it's
right,
about-
but I am
it's
never
about-
changing my mind.
It's about forming one and sticking to it no matter what comes up against it. So no, it was pretty awesome though. And he's just incredible. It's like all the young footballers coming through are like Dacos and Ashcroft. Dacos and Ashcroft are like so they look so professional and like yeah, I don't know. It was just like I guess Jason Horn-France is a bit of a like one of those ones that's a bit more like, you know, rough around the edges and stuff. But all the like those two just look like consummate professionals.
Well, even
So-
people were saying Jason Horn-Francis had his best game as Port Adelaide
yeah.
beats the Saints. But just to finish on Lions and Freo look terrible. Lions look great.
Yeah,
but like I was saying
shocking.
the other week, I think we're in good hands with Will Ashcroft and Song.
Yeah.
Caleb Sarong, 11 disposals in the first quarter, but wasn't enough. Although the Lions did lose Daniel Rich and Dane Zorko. But yeah, the inside 50 differential was 62 to 42 for the Lions. And honestly, I was watching that game. It seemed like way more.
Yeah, Freo are done for the season, right? Like they're not coming back from here.
They'd have to be. They've looked so bad.
Not if you talk to their who was the let me just get this article. Who was it? We can win the flag by 2025, says the chief executive Simon Garlick.
Oh, that might happen, but they're not going to get anywhere near it this year. So
No.
they just look way off it.
The flag mantle dream is over for this year.
So, I mean, in their defense, they have had a fairly tough matchup, all but one. So they opened with the Saints. They lost. They played North Melbourne. They lost that by 1 point. They beat West Coast and they beat the Gold Coast Suns, but they lost to Adelaide, the Dogs, and they lost to Brisbane on the weekend. So,
and they've got another hard one coming up this week against the Hawks.
Tough one against the Hawks. Yeah,
true.
and
I'd
then
say,
Swans.
okay,
Geelong.
I could be wrong, but my vibe on Freo is that it's not just that they've lost, but the nature of their losses has been
they just
pretty
don't look good. Like
rubbish. Yeah.
they don't look coherent. Like not coherent. They just don't look like they know what the game plan is or what they're executing. It's weird. After last season, where they were on top of the world as far as expectations and how they were performing, it's complete opposite this year.
I had them as a top 4 team going into the season, and that looks pretty bad now. And I mean, like we said at the start of the year, they lost. Who they lose? They lost Acres. Was it to the Blues?
Yeah.
And they lost Lob to the Dogs. Not that that's a huge loss. And then they brought in from the D's.
Oh, you're forgetting Lloyd Meek to the Hawks as well, mate.
Oh, sorry, Lloyd Meek to the Hawks as well. And they brought in Luke Jackson from the D's. So they didn't really replace the talent they were losing. And then, of course, remember in round 1 when they decided to put Nat Fife, was it up forward or down?
It was up forward.
Up forward, and it just did not work. And then they moved him to the middle, and then what happened? He got injured, and we haven't seen him since. So
he's back this week.
Oh, big game.
He's playing
Must
as a
win.
sub, though.
Is he?
Yeah.
Wow.
So Trent Cotchin and Nat Fife medical subs for 2023 so far.
Jeez. Oh, how the, something may fall.
Love
that's
that
pretty
saying.
amazing. Yeah, I know. Yeah, cut that out. But it is pretty like I don't know about you guys, but bring in Luke Jackson and Nat Five coming back seem to have unsettled the apple cart at Fremantle. So I'm going to put it all down to Nat Five and Luke Jackson and put lots of pressure on them. So yeah.
Like they're also not a very high scoring team, which wasn't their MO last year, but what they did make up for was their good defense. And now they seem to have lost that. So they just kind of have nothing going for them. My number 2 moment from the round. Okay, I've got I'm gonna say this, and it's gonna be on record now. Toby Green is a top 5 player in the AFL. One of my most hated players
the
of all
right to
time.
change your mind, as you just said. So
thank you.
Not that you should. You made your opinion. Now you should stand by it. Even in the face of all, it doesn't matter. But I'd say he's top 10 this year.
That dude is taken to his new captaincy role very, very well.
It definitely suits him a lot better than it suited Cornelio.
Yeah. If you missed it, so like we were saying, Giants rally to win by a point, and Toby Green kicking the final goal, must needed goal in the last sort of 40 seconds of the game.
Yeah.
To win it.
Couldn't happen to a nice team.
Great to see Swans lose again.
Yeah, it is awesome. I did watch the highlights of that game as well. And yeah, it was just amazing. Like he's the kind of player who can like absolutely just put himself somewhere the middle or forward line and change the game. And he's so good to watch because it's like he makes it look like, like junior footy you're playing and there's like just one person on the team who is just way better than everyone else. And somehow like that they could have a bad game or whatever, but they were still like capable of doing a whole bunch of things that everyone else wasn't. And he seems like that.
That's me.
Really. Yeah.
I mean, that's because I'm still playing junior footy, so I'm a lot better than 10-year-olds, but I'm a lot better than them.
I thought you were going to say it's you on this podcast. You're like, your ceiling is the highest, but
I'm basically Dustin Martin. I wait to the grand final of this podcast and I'll really start. My best work comes out.
Yeah. No, he's great though.
It was awesome. I think he's playing really, really well. So my top 5, I should have written it down, but somewhere in there, it's like Bont. It's got to be Dacos in there. Jeremy Cameron would be in there. Want to say I'll leave number 4 blank, but then right there is Toby. I should probably say like Clayton Oliver, right, or someone from the D's. Okay. Before I get to my number 1, I just because this has nothing to do with it, but the Suns beat the Tigers on the weekend at Marvel Stadium. So Richmond at Docklands, since their coach mentioned a dislike of coming to the venue, their last 6 games. Loss, draw, loss, 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 loss.
Wow.
They don't travel well.
Yeah, and it's like 10 minutes down the road.
It is interesting.
It's not just that.
Sorry.
I was going to say their fans don't turn out at Docklands either. Like there's like 23,000 or something there on the weekend. And it happened every time they go to Marvel, their fans just don't turn up. Which is nuts because it's not that far and they have so many fans. Like they had 85,000 at the Anzac Eve game the week before. And it's a lot of Tigers fans there. So yeah, where did they go? Like it's just
But when you have the luxury of hanging out in Richmond at the pub and then strolling on down to the MCG, that you don't want to get a tram to Marvel. So
no, it's ages away. Yeah,
it's ages away. Suns have won their last 3 straight games against Richmond. We recalled last week on the show the Noah Anderson last time they played goal after the siren and the 41 point comeback rather. And Matt Rowell played a great game as well. He's sort of starting to ascend there as well. I just wanted to get that one in there before my number 1 moment from the round. Oh, and also speaking of Marvel and teams winning there, congrats to Port Adelaide for winning their 8th straight game at Marvel Stadium. They hold the record of any team. But my number one moment from the round had to be the Pies coming back in Adelaide to defeat Adelaide. And they led the game for a total of 23 seconds, or 30 seconds if you want to go by official AFL standards. But yeah, turns out 30 seconds is all you need to win a game if you're the Collingwood Flag Pies. And that steals, I don't know if you caught the game, Ed, but that steals side bottom, masterful behind, definitely intentional, right?
Well,
I don't know. It's hard to say.
Well, they were talking about it, and you're playing your percentages, right? If
like they've
Collingwood
from one end to the other in less amount of time than in the middle of the ground from a goal. If
Steele had kicked that goal, the ball goes back into the middle, and then the Crows have something like 20 seconds to kick a goal, which is entirely possible. But if they kick the behind, then they've got to go the whole length of the field in that time, and obviously a lot trickier, especially from where they were sitting. And even the Chad Johnson just like subtle little tap through to draw the game, to set the game level was also awesome to see.
I mean, you only need to look at the miracle on grass. I think that went from like the back pocket all the way to a set shot within 13 seconds, I reckon it was. So it can be done, is what I'm saying, from behind. But
are you saying the miracle on grass, when Collingwood played the Blues?
No, miracle on grass is it's when the Brisbane Lions came back from about 50 points to beat Geelong.
Oh, okay, that's why I'd blocked that from my memory.
Ash McGrath's 200th game, I think it was.
Oh,
he
God,
kicked the winning goal.
That. Yeah.
So it can be done. I don't know if it was intentional or not. If it was, I think it's silly to be intentional.
Really?
Yeah, I think you always go for the biggest score possible, regardless.
So you don't think they big-brained it?
No. I don't think Steele side bottom is possible of big braining anything, even though he might have I hate to shout out a fellow bald man, but he's got a shiny big head.
Darcy Moore, 23 disposals, including 9 intercept possessions and 6 marks. Does that make sense? 9 intercept possessions and 6 marks.
He's so hot right now. He's like if Kevin Sheedy's on the bottom of the power rankings, Darcy Moore is like on top.
I really want to see these power rankings that have people
I think I might have
everyone who's ever played the game.
Just like people who are around football. It has to
people who are around football, a new power ranking system. We might have to come up with one.
So where's Kane
Darcy Moore? It's like, good question. We'll have to have a think. But Darcy Moore, it's like, okay, he's playing for Collingwood right now, who are going well. He's a captain. That's a bit of a PowerPoint. 2, I would say, the best centre half back in the game by a mile. He's just like,
I wouldn't say by a mile, but I do agree.
Maybe by a mile, but all right, like he's a gun. He's constantly attacking, and he always makes good decisions. And he is loved by the media. He's so well spoken and woke, and like.
Well, I don't know. He swears during interviews.
Yeah, even he's so cool. He swears. Yeah, yes. He did. That's great.
Oh my God. Okay, yeah, I didn't hear that, but he's like, he says like all the right things. He's like a media darling. So
it's a great clip. At the moment. Something about the big boys were taking fucking great marks or something like to that extent.
Yeah,
that was good.
Yeah, he's at the top of my power ranking. So yeah.
So this actually falls into my question of the week.
Let's do it.
So this is how am I going to do this? All right. So Collingwood, most recent Collingwood games where the team trailing at 3/4 time has won. Collingwood has won 10 of their last 11. Instances where that's happened, where the team that was not ahead at 3/4 time has come back to win. Can you remember the one game where that was not the case?
Where they beat Collingwood?
So yeah, where the team that was behind at 3/4 time came back to beat Collingwood, basically. So Collingwood was ahead.
Okay. So where Collingwood was in front and then they lost at 3/4.
Yes. Yeah. It's only happened once in the last 11 times.
Oh.
One person here should remember it.
Yeah, I was going to say, is this the game against Geelong where Geelong?
Oh yeah, qualifying final.
That is correct.
Yeah,
Last
yeah,
year's
yeah,
qualifying
yeah.
final was the only time the last
Yeah.
11 times that's
That's a
featured
pretty
Collingwood.
solid hint because I
Only
have
time it
witnessed
mattered.
Yeah.
No, but I was
Well,
actually just going to say, but I actually was thinking of the game at round 3 mid-year last year. But
No,
yeah,
this
I've
this is
forgotten
on
about
last.
that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
this is going
okay.
back to round 13 last year.
Because I'm pretty sure Essendon make up like half of Collingwood's come from behind victories in the last few years. So
Well, that's kind of you to suggest that Bombers were in front at one point.
no, we seriously do. We get in front of Collingwood, and then they have this glorious comeback, and we're left to just like watch and take it. And yeah, it's awful. So I don't think I can watch Collingwood Essendon games anymore.
No Anzac for you.
No.
Okay. Ed, do you want to do your rules the world? I've got a couple of notes, and then we'll finish with the games coming this weekend.
Yeah, cool. Okay, yeah. Intro, and then Okay. All right, fellas. This week on Rules the World, we're in the midst of a crisis. So co-host here, Jasper Grove, has articulated the huge problem the AFL has around the lack of holding the ball decisions made. We all bear witness to the lack of decisions made when a player drops the ball. I think the football public, if I'm not speaking out of turn, has lost trust in our game and the umpires, with fewer, if any, holding the ball decisions called. So I think it's time for intervention, and I think rules can save this, as rules save everything. So the first one I had for you fellas before I send it on to AFL House is I took inspiration here from the great game of basketball, which does not have tackling. But you can still tap the ball out. So how about we just get rid of tackling altogether, and you can tap the ball out of the player's hands. You can bump them. So it's still a bit of physical contact. You just can't wrap your arms around the player.
I gotta say, this is going to open up the game to new heights that were before, like, would never have been imagined. These are going to have like
imagine
200...
all the tapping and the slapping going on, and
I feel like this is going to have highest scoring games ever, sort of, but also a lot of like 200 to 45 kind of games, because
whoever's got the tallest
like,
players wins.
Imagine like a player is running and another player is running behind them. They can't tackle them. They have to literally catch up and slap the ball out of their hands, or like push them off the ball or something.
Can we let them be tripped? So at least you got a way to catch up to them from behind.
Okay, you can trip now, and
but
that's
only
illegal
like that
maneuver.
high school way where you kick their leg behind their other leg as they're running.
Okay.
Can you bump?
Yes, you can bump, but you can't tackle.
Okay. So you'd need to almost like in soccer set up like a wall that people have to try and like run through.
It's a new position on the field where you have the wall in front
wall,
of the player
yeah.
coming towards you.
Ruckman are going to dominate this game, or they're going to be the highest paid players, because whoever gets their hands on the ball first is basically guaranteed to at least get a scoring shot. It's going to be so hard to stop the ball.
Yeah, but you're gonna actually you'll be scoping the draft pool for players with long arms, because then they'll be able to get around and like tap the ball out.
Big ass Michael Jordan-esque hands that can't have a ball slapped out of their hands.
They'll do the draft combine will just be measuring hands and arms.
Well, I mean, the Travis Cloak glove will definitely be outlawed. No extra grip strength gloves on the allowed for holding onto the ball.
Yeah. Okay. Well,
nice one. How about this, Ed? Next time there's a global pandemic, we'll really push for this one where it's no wrapping, just only like light taps.
Yes, just taps. Yeah. Okay, I feel like that got a tick of approval. My next one, I think, this might be a little bit contentious, but I have just so greatly enjoyed the arc. Everyone loves the arc, and it's so efficient and quick. And
it's so high res.
It doesn't take away.
Easy to see everything.
Yeah, I find like it's just so sharp, the image and everything. Anyway, so what about this? I think the arc is that team that runs it is getting away too easily with not doing enough work. So I say that we should have a video review challenge for holding the ball decisions that coaches and captains can elect. They get 3 each side a game, and you can challenge a decision or a non-decision. in the game. So you hold up your hand as the captain or the coach, and like a big noise rings out of the stadium, challenge.
I love the
then,
noise aspect.
Yeah. And then and so a previous just decision is reviewed by the ARC to see whether it's holding the ball or not.
So don't they actually debate this every couple of years, I think? Because I actually... So I've been wanting to introduce challenges into the AFL for a while now, because I think it would actually be quite good.
I think the aspect of making it included for challenging non-decisions is going to make it interesting. It's going to stop play, just so they're essentially a player. I mean, I feel like that's ripe for abuse by players on other teams, where they might see a team's on the out, they've got a free run, they might just go, "Oh, actually, I want to pick this one."
Did that guy actually hand pass to the other player, or was it a throw? Yeah,
like in dying seconds of a drawn grand final, players streaming ahead. Someone goes, sorry, no, I want to make sure.
And the alternative to this, and now this is something that probably should be introduced as well, is instant reactions on Twitter. So the AFL, the official AFL Twitter account, once a decision happens or an instance happens, they post it on Twitter, and then the public has to react, and they make a poll, and within like a minute or 2 minutes, whatever gets the most amount of votes is the decision that continues on the game.
I like that. So
I love holding up a game for 2 minutes so people can.
Okay, 1 minute, whatever, 30 seconds.
No, and then because
I
this is
love
great.
it.
And I think it'll always get the thing right, because Bob Hawke famously said the electorate is never wrong. So the public is never wrong.
But only people who subscribe to Twitter are allowed to vote. So you're going to get a lot of...
Yeah. Twitter's never wrong. There you go.
Exactly. But also, like, I feel like people would be watching one angle and then making their vote, and then they'd show another angle, and then that would probably change their vote, but it's too late.
I feel like more often than not, it's just going to be supporters of whichever side wants the ruling in their favor is going to be voting.
It'll be great for fan game interaction. So
well, maybe Tigers would have beaten the Suns on the weekend had that been the case. So
yeah, exactly. All right, so my final rule that I think could be introduced. I was about to say solution, and I thought no, that is something else. So with a bad history. So my final rule to introduce possible to save this, to save tackling and holding the ball. So let's keep tackling, but if a player is tackled with the ball, it's holding the ball, full stop. There's no prior opportunity. If you are holding the ball and you've been tackled, it is holding the ball.
So anytime a tackle is laid, basically.
Yeah, anytime a tackle is laid with it while the person has the ball. So you just wait to get the ball and you quickly flick it off as a handball. But if you get tackled at all, it's holding the ball. I'm
not against this rule at all. It's better than how they're currently ruling it, I must say.
So, do you remember why no prior opportunity was brought into the game, Ed? It was for this exact reason. It was for this exact reason. It's because both players would stare at the ball, stare at the other player, and then they'd wait for the other player to get the ball, and then they'd tackle them, and then the umpire would call holding the ball on them. So, so they introduced no prior opportunity to say for this exact reason.
Well, I think we need to go back. I think it's gone too far the other way. So,
okay,
yeah. So we'll get. I mean, we've got a new CEO coming in. He's going to want to stamp his mark on the game. So he's right for suggestions or solutions, we might say.
I should send them all in a big package and say, only for Andrew Dillon's eyes.
And put like and make sure that he knows that it's like, time is ticking. So put like a ticking like watch in there or something. Make a very loud ticking sound.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah, and make sure you sound really threatening, like you've got 2 days to comply.
Yes. And I'll maybe put like a voice modulator on and leave a message as well.
And say, P.S. I am not a crackpot.
Take me seriously. Yeah. Okay, that's it for Rules of the World this week.
All right, Eddie. Another fantastic segment of Rules of the World. Okay, before we get into this week's games, just a couple of swamp things that I wanted to highlight. So, longest active streak of games kicking at least one goal Bailey Fritsch is on 35 straight games of kicking at least one goal. Charlie Curnow is second, and then Tom Papley. The kicking multiple goals in each of the first 7 rounds. So Oscar Allen, Jeremy Cameron, and Charlie Curnow are the 3 players remaining who've all kicked at least one goal in a game.
Oscar Allen's a surprise.
Well, I mean, when you think about the rest of the team, he's sort of like him and Jack Darling
okay.
are kind of the offense there.
I mean, is anyone actually watching West Coast games? They could just be filling in the stat sheet after. Like, let's just not play the game. We'll just fill in the stat sheet as we think it might happen.
Jeez. Someone did actually say they're reaching kind of Fitzroy level of competitiveness.
I mean,
like
I'm sure it's
last-
different in WA and Perth. I'm sure they're still mad about it. And you look at the West Australian headlines every week, and they're fucking ready to burn shit down out of passion for it. But yeah, definitely on the East Coast, it's more like a
I gotta say, I don't read the West Australian headlines, but thanks for letting me know, Jess.
Oh, you are missing out on some furor. They are going. Peter Sumich is going nuts over there.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
So they're soon to be the Tasmanian Eagles, is what I gather.
Yeah. Cool. I'm down for that.
What about the Tasmanian Suns? Is that the same ring as the Gold Coast Suns?
Ooh.
It's a bit ironic, a bit like the Los Angeles Lakers. Not a lot of sun in Tasmania.
Yeah.
No.
And the last one, so North Melbourne playing a home and away match on a Saturday night, live in prime time for everyone to watch. Last time they did that was 2010, and the time before that was 2008. So once in the last 15 years. And yeah, they've played a Saturday night match.
Yeah.
Sorry, most recent home and away night matches for North Melbourne at the MCG. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, okay.
So
they did themselves a lot of favors on that most recent Saturday night.
Yeah.
They'll definitely be getting another one in 5 years' time.
in 15 years, good. All right, let's jump into the game. So similar to last weekend, there's not a huge amount of competitiveness, although the Friday night game looks good. Blues Lions. Blues are favorite by 3.5 points. I'm not seeing it.
Wow.
At Marvel.
Yeah, I think that's surprising.
Marvel Stadium, and Sam Doherty is back for his second game since his injury. That's the only reasoning I can put together, and maybe because the Lions lost the Dogs there in round 2, but I don't see, like, obviously, like, I'm quite harsh on Carlton, and their 110-point win over the Eagles is not going to change my mind. But I'm hot on the Lions.
Yeah, I like Lions too.
Someone's changed their tune, huh?
Well, I've always been
check the tapes. I reckon started. You
were
were very not high on the Lions. What are you talking about?
I had them 7th ranked coming into the season, and with the demise of Freo and Richmond,
a whole lot of revisionist history going on this week, fellas.
I reserve the right to change my mind.
He reserves the right to change history. But it's interesting with this game. Is it just me, or is Carlton playing like a lot of games at Marvel? It just seems like more than usual. So I don't know. I thought they were more of an MCG team, but I know Marvel's another one of their homes. But
potentially,
well, Marvel is their home, isn't it?
Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah, Marvel's their stadium.
Yeah.
So Carlton really will only be without Tom DeConing, who I think he might even test, but the Lions, they are without Dane Zorko, as I said earlier, hamstring 2 to 3 weeks, and Daniel Rich calf 2 to 3 weeks. So those are 2 sort of key players, but I still think that they're good enough.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I would tip Brizzy going into that game. I think they're in some good form at the moment, and Carlton aren't, excluding last week, but can't put too much emphasis on that game.
I'm going to tip Carlton. I think Carlton will win this game. I reckon they'll get up. I reckon they played pretty well last week. I reckon Brisbane are probably due for a bad game. So that's my vibe. That's my lock of the week.
Lock of the week. Wow.
Yeah.
The first game.
I would not have guessed the way you started that sentence. I would not have guessed that was going to end in a lock of the week. You did not sound that confident at the start.
I
of the
like to
sentence.
keep people guessing, and I
You got
found
way
my
more
logic as I
confident
went
than
along.
Toby.
Yeah, yeah.
So the only other game that I can see that is relatively close, and maybe it's just because I'm a pessimist, but Adelaide is going to Cardinia Park on Saturday
that could be a good game.
afternoon.
Yeah,
Well,
that'll be a good
Geelong's 30-point favourites. I don't see that.
Yeah,
I think the Crows are good. The
Yeah.
Crows are a really good
game.
team.
But it is at
Yeah.
GmbH, wherever
Cardinia
Grievous
Park.
Bodily Harm Stadium.
yeah.
Like Geelong thrash teams
Human growth
there,
hormone.
outside of like Freo.
Yeah.
We will
Yeah.
be without Cam Guthrie, toe, TBC, Jack Bowles, calf. I think he will be out. Stengel and Stanley still out, and Tui has a back injury. So we're without a few people, but they might play. The Crows are basically the healthiest team in the league. They don't seem to be really missing anyone outside of Shane McAdams.
Yeah, okay.
I think it's going to be a good game. I think it's going to be close. Like, is Cardinia Park that dissimilar from Adelaide Oval?
Oh, it's pretty thin, isn't it? Like,
I don't know about
the
the
thing.
dimensions of it, but just like sometimes like in sports where the stadium doesn't change dimensions, the home and away factor is still a big factor. And I feel like it is at Geelong, especially because it's not a stadium that is played at regularly for away teams.
Fair enough. I might be at that game as well, so that'll be exciting.
Oh, very nice.
Ed, the Bombers playing Port Adelaide this weekend. How do you think you'll fare?
I think we'll go okay. I reckon Port will win, but I reckon we'll get within I reckon we'll lose by 3 goals.
I was just going to say, I reckon Port by 3 goals.
Yeah, it's in
I reckon,
and Port Adelaide is 14-point favourites.
Yeah, I reckon that is exactly right, and I reckon we'll be competitive like we're against Geelong and Collingwood, but we will not beat. I don't think we could, but I reckon we're like a 2 in 10 chance of winning that game.
It'll be interesting to see if you score over 100 points again, because I'm pretty sure you've scored over 100 points in most of your games.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's just the one against the Giants, but even then, they've still been really high scoring. So, yeah, it'd be interesting to see what you can do against Port Adelaide.
I reckon Hawks are a good shot against Freo.
Yeah, so that was the other one, Hawks against Freo. I think the Hawks might win.
It's over in Perth. I don't feel like we actually have an awful record at Optus Stadium. But
this one I'm sort of picking for maybe upset of the round.
The way both teams are playing, I wouldn't be awfully surprised if we did eke out a win somehow. We'd have to play at our best for 4 quarters against a team that isn't playing crash hot.
Yeah.
And we have rarely put together 4 quarters all year. But I wouldn't be 100% surprised, but I would still tip Freo to win.
Yeah, okay.
And how's this for a stupid bet of the week? Richmond are playing the West Coast Eagles, I'm guessing at the MCG. Richmond are 42-point favourites. I think the Eagles might just outright win the game.
Oh, jeez.
Big call.
It's at the G.
Yeah.
Nah, it's at the G.
It could happen.
Can you imagine that?
It would be crazy.
Nah, man. I think as bad as Richmond have been, they've been competitive in like every game.
I reckon Richmond's going to win by like 6 goals. I reckon they're sick of getting kicked around on the field and off the field.
Yeah,
so I reckon
they're going to win by like 100 points? They're going to just make them punish them?
I reckon they're like, well, West Coast is so shit that we can beat up on this team.
Yeah,
even though they're only like 2 spots above them on the ladder, but at the G, I think it helps a lot. If it was in Perth,
I think. Yeah, I was going to say, John, your rule of the percentage, I think, is the indicator on this one. I think Richmond's percentage is like 90 or something, or 88.
87.
And, yeah, it's like, whereas West Coast is like, pretty bad. But yeah, I reckon Richmond will win that game.
And then Collingwood Sydney, I think, is the
the other one,
yeah.
It depends. It depends on the Swans.
Yeah, at the G, so Collingwood should be favourites, especially considering their form. But I wouldn't be fully surprised at an upset. So I'm going to say lock it in Sydney, lock of the week.
Wow! Boom.
No, I'm just copying Eddie's starting
cool.
off very
was
not
gonna
sure
say,
and then
have
locking it in. That's
Yeah.
the sure thing.
Have you even watched the Swans the last like 4 weeks?
Yeah.
Have been
I
terrible.
am never intentionally watching the Swans.
Swans last 5 weeks, loss, win, loss.
Yeah, so they're due for a win. It's
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
it's like it's like gambling. It's
Yeah.
due. It's bound to happen.
Yeah. It's
The law of regression.
Yeah.
All right. Awesome. Perfect, gentlemen. That is going to do it for another week of footy. Looking forward to round 8. Eddie, continue to enjoy your holidays. Jasper, you're on holiday soon?
I am on holiday soon. I'll be catching up with this guy in a month.
In a month? Okay,
Yeah.
cool. Because I'm also on holiday soon. So we might all be recording from
remotely.
Yeah, from anywhere
we have
but
to make
Australia.
That happen. That would be amazing.
Yeah. Hopefully we're in the
cool.
similar time zones. I think we will be.
Yeah.
All right. Until next week. Thank you, everyone. Goodbye.
Oh!